So can we take a broad look at the general atmosphere, the housing atmosphere in Nigeria? Let's look at it. How is it faring, particularly this housing delivery that we have talked about? How is it like?
Thank you, Barrister Festus, for the question. Well, I want to start by saying that the housing deficit in Nigeria is a big dent in the country's social stability, economic development, economic growth and development. That is because to a very large extent, the government, which is supposed to provide solutions to the problem, seems not to be interested in the problem, which is they're giving rise to, because once there's a loophole, people will tend to go into the loophole, which is just as you stated, Barrister Festus, as giving rise to private developers, whether you are registered or not, to take advantage of the inadequacy of the government to provide adequate housing for citizens. The government's sole responsibility, this is one of the government's sole responsibility, to provide adequate housing for citizens. So this responsibility stands directly on the government. The government cannot say no, we are not doing this. It is because of the government has failed in certain aspects. That is why private developers are saying, okay, let us take up this mantle. But them taking up the mantle now, the government has also not offered regulatory policy, framework to guide
the industry.
So that, okay, we have not done our part well. Okay, we have come in, do our part, but okay, let us regulate it so that some of these developers have reaped consumers of their hard-earned money.
Exactly.
Hard-earned money. Sometimes by the time you try to look at the procedure of getting back your money, you just forget
about it. It's so cumbersome. Yes. Before we also go nitty-gritty into all these issues, let's also explain the case of the week. The case of the week highlighted the sharp practices that are involved in this sector, where a promise is made to deliver a house to a consumer, and the consumer subscribe into that scheme. The promise going to get XYZ house when you pay a deposit, and the balance will be paid over installment period of this period. In the case of the week, the claimant subscribed, even though not directly to the developer, but through a third party, and immediately paid. The third party disappeared with the money. For almost 11 years, the third party was nowhere to be found until this gentleman got hold of the defendant and eventually sued him to court. And we realized that when the man got to court, the man was trying to deny liability, that he wasn't bound by that contract. We also realized that the subscription fee for that housing plan he subscribed for was 5.8 billion. 1 million naira had been paid, remaining the balance of 4.8. They asked the gentleman, pay the 4.8 and you get